Hi everyone! Welcome to Sarah's Samut Sari. In today's video, I'm featuring one of my very good friends from university, Wendy. Wendy and I have been friends since what first year college at the
Yeah.
University of the Philippines. And we have continued to be friends after all these years, after having two children each. And Wendy has been kind enough to agree to show us how to make her handmade soap. So I noticed that Wendy has always been fascinated by soaps. Whenever she visited us here in Sydney, she would always buy soap. So, Wendy, tell me, what is this thing about you and soaps?
Well, actually, it started because um, while browsing online, I saw these shampoo bars. Actually, it started with shampoo bars that said that it could make your hair dark. Okay. So I purchased some shampoo bars. And then I saw one time on my feed that there was this class for shampoo and conditioner making. And so I said, wow, I'd like to enroll in that. And then when I enrolled, they told me that they also had soap making classes. And so I enrolled in the soap making class and found out that it's more fun to make the soaps than the shampoo and conditioner bars. Although I still make them, but you can be more creative with soaps than with shampoo and conditioner. At least it's how I see it. So it started with a class, and I've been creating a lot of different types of soap ever since then.
Okay, wow. So that means that maybe next time you can show us how to make your shampoo bars.
Yeah, probably we can do that too.
Okay, that's great. Now, when I was editing the video, I noticed that you mentioned about trace, the word trace. Can you clarify or give us a bit more idea on what trace means?
Okay. So, because the soap is made out of oils and lye that has been dissolved in water. So, normally, water and oil don't mix. But because there's lye, that is what will create the soap. So, the process of creating the soap is called saponification. And as you are actually mixing the lye and water with the oils, it will start blending in together and start saponifying. So as it is saponifying, it thickens.
Yeah,
So trace is the thickening of the soap. So
right.
when you're mixing and you can feel it starting to thicken, and when
Yep,
you lift up your blender, you will
yep.
see that when it drips, it makes marks on the batter. You can call it that, or on the soap.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like trays, and then it becomes heavier and heavier. And
yes,
when you lift up the blender and it's really already dropping in blobs, then that's heavy trays. So it means that that is going to be harder to put into the mold. So you have
yeah,
to find a good timing to put
yeah.
the batter into the mold. But that's trays. So it's the
Ah,
thickening of
yeah.
the blend.
Yeah. So I think, as
Well, that's
we
clear.
yeah, no, no, no. It's very good because it's like, when I bake and I make the cream, buttercream, like you have to
Yeah,
make it a bit thick, or make a
yeah,
meringue. When you
yeah,
raise it, it should be a blob. It shouldn't drop. So if it drops, like, you still have to mix it. So it's
yeah,
kind of like thing.
yeah.
Now,
Very similar.
yeah, yeah, very good. So the other question that I have is with regards to the availability of the ingredients.
Mm-hmm,
Um, you are in Manila, so
mm-hmm.
where do you source your ingredients or the materials that you need for the soap?
Hmm. Well, actually, for the different oils, You can buy it in the grocery
Mhm.
or just buy online. But
Yeah.
for the sodium hydroxide, which is lye, I
Yeah.
normally buy it online. So through Lazada, well,
Yeah.
I prefer to buy through Lazada,
Yeah.
but sometimes I also use Shopee. You can also find it there.
Right. Now, I think one of the things I we talked about like privately was with regards to the blender. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think you told me that you bought a cheap blender and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't last very long. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think you have to get a reliable blender so that you
Mhm.
don't spend buying so many blenders when you get the cheap ones, right? So you
Yes.
also got that online?
Yes, I did. I did because COVID. I don't go out much, and so I just sourced it online. Although you can buy it from your regular appliance stores,
Mm-hmm.
Schumacher or Robinson's appliances. You'll find
Right.
those. Yeah.
Okay. One last
So it is
question.
a stick blender. So
Yeah,
just to differentiate, it's a stick blender. Yeah.
that's correct. Yeah, that thanks for clarifying that. My last question before we show them your video is regarding the wooden mold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know your brother Jay made your wooden mold. Is that
Yeah.
available anywhere?
Uh, Not this kind, but you can also buy online the silicone molds,
Yeah.
which have a wooden casing to make it stand. But I don't know. I haven't seen this kind of wooden molds when I'm shopping online, so I'm not sure. But I got my first wooden mold from my class because when I registered, they provided me with a starter kit. And part of the starter kit was a wooden mold, which came
Right.
with initial ingredients so that I
Yeah.
could come out with a soap from our class. And then I just asked my brother to replicate it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Jay can sell them.
Yeah. If there are people who'd like to buy, why not?
Yes.
Well, I was
So
the first customer.
that's correct. It could be at the start of something.
Yeah.
So well, to our viewers here, like if you're interested to know more about where to source the wooden mold, just leave a message in the comment section and we will get back to you so that who knows, it's a very good mold because you can take out part of the box. I noticed that in the
Mm.
video, which is what they are going to see later.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. Thank you so much, Wendy, for the introduction. We will talk about other things later after the video. So, I hope you enjoy Wendy's video. Bye for now.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Wendy. I'm a friend of Sarah since college days. She invited me here to teach you how to make soaps. It has become one of my most recent hobbies. So, hope you enjoy learning. And if you want to do it yourself, I hope you enjoy making your soaps too. Basically, soaps are salts. They are a combination of a base, which is lye, and oils. The properties of saturated oils for your soap, they make it hard, they make it very cleansing, so that normally when you buy pure coconut oil soaps, they are a cleansing bar, but it could also be drying. So what we're doing today is we're combining the saturated, which is hard and cleansing, with the unsaturated that creates a more moisturizing effect on the skin. So our unsaturated oils will allow the soap to be creamier and more moisturizing. So our basic equipment are protective eyewear, which we will need to use from start to finish. pair of gloves to protect our hands from the materials we'll be working with, a mask that we will wear to protect ourselves from the fumes of the sodium hydroxide, a scale to measure all the ingredients, measuring cups and spoons, lye, which was already been pre-measured. I like to use the flakes more than the powder or the balls because the balls are harder to break into smaller measurements, and the powder you could mistake it for salt. So at least this one you know that it is lye. You need your heat resistant bowls. Your stick blender. For today, we're going to use this soap mold, which is a box, so that I can show you how to prepare the loaf and then cut them out into individual soaps later. But we will also use some silicone molds, which you can buy from your regular DIY stores. Aren't they pretty? Pretty molds. For the soap box, we will need to line it with this wax paper. So the first thing we're going to do is weigh the water. We're going to make a batch of 500 grams of soap. So for this particular batch, we're going to need 190 grams of water. So when you put your container, you first need to tare it so that it goes to 0. And then let us measure the water at 190 grams. Now we are going to mix the lye with the water. Always put the lye into the water, never the water into lye. Because if you put the water into the lye, there could be some volcanic eruption, sort of. But when you put the lye into the water and just mix it slowly, then you're good. So make sure you're wearing your gloves, your mask, and your goggles. You will notice that there will be fumes coming out, so that is normal, but make sure you don't inhale it. When the lye is mixed with water, there is an exothermic process that happens, and it generates a lot of heat. So the water actually can reach up to 96 degrees Celsius just by having lye mixed into it. Once all the lye has dissolved, set this aside and then let it cool before we mix the oils. So once the lye water has cooled, then we can start mixing the oils to the water. The oils have been pre-mixed. I'll give you the recipe later, but for now, I put together all the different oils that we will be using today into this bottle. Normally, oils and water do not mix. And if you can see, below is the lye water and above are the oils. So what we need to do is to make sure they get mixed together thoroughly. You start by hand mixing it manually, and then later on, you can use your stick blender to mix it up a little bit faster. So now we can start using the stick blender. We do not want to saponify the oils too quickly. So what we'll do is use the stick blender for about 3 seconds and then manually mix it for about 10 to 15 seconds and then stick blend it again. So you will see that the part that has been stick blended starts looking very creamy. Make sure you have a very stable bowl that you're using to mix your soaps. Make sure it doesn't tip over because the lye is still very active. You have to watch your soap as it goes through the tracing process. So there is a light trace where you can see that there are slight traces of the dripping on the soap, and then there's a medium trace and the heavy trace. So normally you add your fragrances during medium trace. You can also add the colorants during medium trace. And once you do that, it will quickly go into heavy trace. Light trace is the easiest to pour, and the heavy trace is more difficult to pour. But that's where you can actually create the designs on the top of your soaps. At this time, since it's already getting into medium trace, we can start adding our fragrance. I prepared a mixture of fragrances to combine, and this is a zesty fragrance. It's a combination of lavender, sweet orange, and bergamot. So we will pour the fragrance into the soap. And we mix it first manually to distribute the fragrance throughout the soap batch. Mmm, that smells good. Okay, so now I'm going to create two batches because I'd like to add two different colors. I'm gonna pour some of this into this other bowl. You normally start with your lighter colors. So this is gold mica. So as you can see, the trace is getting heavier. There's more trace when you drip the soap into the batch. So this one here is azure blue mica, and it's a baby blue. Put the final touch. You can just make some designs. On our soap. And that's it. So for this batch, we're using silicone molds to have some pretty shapes. So after finishing the soap, you let it dry for the next 2 days. Wait for it to solidify, and then after 2 days, we will unmold the soap and then cut it out. So I'll see you in 2 days. Welcome back. It's been 2 days since we made our soap. So now we're ready to unmold and cut. So wear gloves before handling the soap to make sure that dirt on your hands doesn't get on the soap. So these are the soaps that we put in the mold, and now let's unmold them. Here you go. Has a fresh minty scent. And for this one in the box, we need to take it out of the box first. loosen the soap from the mold to make it easier to pull it out. Let's take it out of the wax paper. We'll put it back inside the box to prepare it for cutting. Here's our first soap.
So there you have it, everyone. Thank you so much to my dearest friend, Wendy. So, Wendy, what are your plans now with regards to your handmade soaps?
Well, actually, when I started doing the soaps, it was for Christmas presents. And I made a lot. And people started asking if they could buy from me. So, all the soaps I've made ever since the time I started that are ready for use are all gone. But in the future, I'm thinking of possibly selling. And my daughter has actually pushed me to set up an Instagram account. And so if you're interested to see the soaps, but maybe a little bit more in the future once the new batches come out, uh, please follow By the Gram. So that's the name of my soaps on Instagram.
Yes, I'm sure you will be a very successful soap queen. And
By
I'm
God's
looking,
grace.
yes, by God's grace, of course. So I look forward to going home and I can have probably have some of your soaps. But of course,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make them. I will just try to see if I can source the materials here because I'm not very familiar with the materials, whether I can find them, but I'm sure I will. But it's an exciting one because I also like soap. So again, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Wendy. Wendy has kindly provided us with the materials and the procedures on how to make the soaps. We are providing it in the description below. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and please follow us. Thank you so much and have a great day, everyone. Bye.